Previously on In Neon.
You're engaged?
Well, it's that time again for another commentary. Another award-winning, exciting, no frills, all thrills commentary. This one on episode 8 for the TV series In Neon. I'm Erik Sprowls. I was the series creator and director. And with me this time out, I have... Ladies?
I'm Mary Muhly. I played Cindy Razzi back in the day.
Is it Cindy Razzi or Razzi? It's Cindy whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cindy Raz something.
Cindy.
I think it was Razzi, but I pronounced it wrong.
Razzi.
Everybody else pronounced it right.
Oh, well, good. That way you got into the character, so it's pronounced, but it's like pronounced this way. And with me also is another lovely lady.
I'm Brianne, and I played Jennifer Burns.
And Brianne, what's your last name?
Dalphonso, sorry. Everybody knows me by now. My goodness.
It's because you're famous, right? Hey, here's your hat. And we're going to take you on a tour of episode 8. I'm clarifying that, Mary, if you recall. Before I said it was episode 8, and we were doing 9.
Yeah, this one's 8.
This is episode 8.
This is that one.
Not one.
You know.
And we are starting the commentary through the previously on In Neon montage because it picks up right with the action before the usual open comes on. So, as you can see, we're just rolling through here. Oh, and we come to why the cliffhanger from episode 7, which is Laura is going to go kill herself on the train tracks.
Oh, damn.
You sound so happy.
And Mary wants to save her above anyone else. And as you can see, all the snow here is digitally enhanced. That's because
just get out of here!
Laura, get off the damn track!
it was done completely with a weather graphic called snoweffects.com. Except snow on the ground. We were actually hit by a blizzard when this happened. You know how long it takes to wait for a train to come by when there's no schedule, by the way? A long-ass time.
I bet this would have to be scary. I don't know if I necessarily would stand in front of a train while it was coming.
I mean, if you had your choices of killing yourself?
She wasn't standing in front of a train.
Oh.
I had an administrator that actually
She had
looked
a
at me
light
and said,
pointed at her.
"What were you thinking with those kids on the tracks and that train coming?" I'm like, "Come on, guys, you have to make it real."
Was she really standing
No,
in
they
the
just-
train?
Oh, yeah, and here's the
Pointed
effect. Here's
out.
the effect. Check this out. I'll explain how this is done. Right? There. They weren't on the train tracks. They were about 20 feet on this side of the tracks. We shot it with a long angle lens, and they were never in any danger. So they were like, they just jumped and fell down, and the train went by in the background. They were never near the train. Look how far they are there. That's a
they
good.
could never have jumped that far.
That's a good 25 feet.
Yeah.
You know? But you don't really question that stuff when you're watching for the first time. And with the snow effects added, you really can't tell. I remember when we shot this too, Jess ruined her sweater. She took it like an idiot and threw it in the dryer when she went home, and it shrank to a baby size. So I kept it as a memento, and I
It is really small now.
mounted
Is it
it.
really?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's nowhere down to her knees. It comes to maybe the waist size.
Oh my gosh. I could wear it.
Yeah, you
Probably
could.
could.
Give it to me.
It's kind of mounted right now onto a board.
What was she drinking? Tea?
Apple juice.
Ugh.
She was drinking apple juice.
I always wondered about that. I always thought it was tea.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you. There was a storm that night, of course, with the snow, and we were shooting in between takes, and it was really cold. So I didn't actually try her apple juice. So I took her word for it that it was, in fact, apple juice.
I'll see you around.
What, you gonna go find a minefield or something?
I wish I would have gotten to take chugs out of a bottle of liquor like half the people in Indiana.
Actually,
The two of us are the only people that haven't done that.
I know.
I think, in retrospect, I was doing it behind the camera. You know,
Yeah, I hear you on that one.
we were fortunate to have a railroad tracks drive right through campus. I never saw a university like that in my life.
Fortunate or unfortunate?
Fortunate, because that's the only reason I wrote this scene. You know?
Yes, but unfortunately, when you go to school there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people get hit by it.
Well, maybe we're just both a couple of crazies.
Don't try to blame this on some kind of hard home life.
Unlike
And the truth is actually coming out of her real life now. You know, she said all these things. She was
Waking
pregnant
up
at
in a half
15,
an
and
hour.
I don't think she said that. And
So her home life really wasn't like that.
no, not at all. She was never pregnant at 15. She was never beaten and abused.
Yeah, her parents were real nice.
She's been hiding this David Levy character this whole time. And who's David Levy? And then the show begins.
His last name when you were at.
Well, you know what? It's kind of funny. His original name was supposed to be Richard Meyer. And when we went to the grave site, we found a grave that would work, and the name on it was Levy. You know, Meyer and Levy have the same number of syllables, and I wasn't really, glued to Meyer. She says, how about if we changed it to Richard Levy? And I said, that's fine, because it worked. You know, it was there. But whenever we were doing the takes, she didn't like saying the name Richard. She liked David. She said, David Levy just seems to roll off your tongue a lot easier than Richard Levy. And I said, good, change it. Whatever. That's immaterial, just to know that it was a boyfriend that died. And so she changed it to David Levy. And that's how that name came around.
David Levy does sound better.
Yeah, it does.
I do.
Yeah, I like it too. I like it too. I'm not big on names. I just like, let's get it underway. The people don't really remember names as much as they remember faces anyway, so that's just my opinion.
Hey, there's a girl in California that works at National City Bank.
Yeah.
Her name is Jennifer Burns.
In town?
Yeah.
That's weird.
No kidding. Did she ever see the show?
I don't know. I never asked.
You had to ask her about
I
it.
only saw her once. I thought that was kind of strange.
It's funny, too, when that train was going by and they were having all that dialogue, that train was so incredibly loud that close, it could never have happened.
How do you know that name?
And now the truth comes out, because I know what kind of life you really had.
How do you know David?
Jane, you ignorant slut. And, of course, his jacket's zipped shut, probably because it's cold out. But he used to do that in a lot of takes because he'd wear the wrong shirt. But you can't screw up a leather jacket.
True.
So
We
he'd
need
always
to get
wear.
Grant one of those.
Yeah, and a hat and a shirt and some pants.
Stepmother called. She told me that you left it back at her house during Christmas break. So I went there and I picked it up.
And the truth comes out. And that is all the ties about the when he kept showing the house and how he talked to his mother and made arrangements to go out there and pick up the book.
You had no right.
I had every right. I'm your friend and I'm concerned about you.
Because you're crazy.
It's like Jack has his nose in everybody's business.
I think that was the...
What do you think?
I read... You know what? I wrote this before the show Friends was on the air. That's how old this is. And it was just laying around for years. I wrote this when I was down at Channel 7. I worked at a CBS affiliate. And I remember them saying when I watched a commentary on Friends once that they wanted the group of friends' friendship to be so tight it was almost incestuous. And I thought that was an interesting quote because you want that friendship to be so tight on this show. And I even thought that when I wrote it, that you want everybody into everybody else's business because that's what it's like if you've ever had really good friends that
wasn't
tight.
in anybody's business ever.
Neither were I.
What?
Never.
You
I never
both
talked
were.
about anything that didn't have to do directly with my character.
Really? How's this Megan thing working out for you? And the fact that you saved Cleve's
Megan,
life.
Yeah, but that's my character. I love.
But you were
Cleve.
into
That's
his
why I'm in
business.
business because I love him.
But you were into his business?
No.
Yeah, you were. You were affecting it with Megan here.
No, I considered that to be my business.
Really? I never saw it that way.
What about me? I was never in anybody's business.
No, you were the one bystander. Remember, you were the one group outsider from the group that came in.
Yep. I was the innocent one.
This is actually her real dorm room. See all that writing on the wall back there? I thought that was the oddest thing. She had some original stuff in her room. She put up wax paper all over the room, and if something interesting happening that day, she wrote it on the wall.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was kind of neat.
I have that same comforter.
Do you?
Yeah.
That was her real room we shot that in. But I liked the fact that everybody seemed to be in everybody's business
away
at some way or
Cleve's
another.
This is at High Point.
Yeah.
You say High Top.
High Top. Yeah, this was shot at High Point
You were
Restaurant.
always sitting in bars together.
Well, when it was written, these two were supposed to be the two degenerates of the show. You know, The ones, she's sleazy and slutty, and he's just like, he'd care less. He's always has a drink in his hand. When we originally wrote that, Jack Lefevre originally wrote it with me. He was supposed to be a real downer. And, you know, while it's important to, while it would have been nice to shoot something like that, the university TV station airing it, they would have said, no. You know, the censors would have said, or the powers that be would have said, you can't have that. This is representing the school. So we had to make it a little bit light and fluffy in times. I'm amazed we got away with the fact that he's having a drink, which is actually water, by the way, so no one to get bitchy.
I didn't even realize it was supposed to be a drink. I thought it was supposed to be water.
Yeah. But, so she admits to him what happened with the whole boyfriend thing. And the reason that this takes place here at High Point, it was so incredibly cold that night down there on the train tracks. All of this dialogue was written for the train tracks. Similar to the way that we did it for your episode, Bree, when it was so cold on that football field and we relocated. We had to relocate. It was just too ice cold. This is a friend of Jared Shouse. His name's Nathan McGill, who wanted a bit part. And I said, that's not a problem. We'll do that. It's very bit. He doesn't even have a speaking role. He's the boyfriend that got killed in the car accident.
Is this Jess's house?
Yes, this is her real bedroom when she was living on campus. This was her apartment. Actually, this bedroom is not hers. It's her sister Bonnie's room. But we shot in there because it had a lot of photos on the wall. And fortunately, because it's her sister's room, it had a lot of photos of her and a lot of music that you could see her listening to and stuff like that. And
a rotary phone.
And a rotary phone. You know, it's technology.
I want a rotary phone.
People still have rotary phones?
We had one until 2 years ago. We didn't have any.
Get out. Really? Mm-hmm. I don't think I have one here in the house.
I don't think I have one in my house either.
She looks a little pathetic here. She has mascara running and stuff.
I wanted him to, to chase me, to play the game.
And she went to bed. Now, this guy that comes in is her real-life father. That's Jess's father. And she asked if I could give him a bit part. I said, yeah, there you go. You'll play your daughter's father. There's a stretch. You see some of the photos on the wall have her and her sister in it.
Yeah.
So it was convenient. It looked like it was a place, that she would have grown up in.
You added a lot of stuff for her character later on.
What's that?
You wrote a lot of stuff, and she wrote a lot of stuff after the show had started.
No, this was in the original script. This was in the original script. This story is based on a true story, actually. Not the same set of circumstances, but the way it happened. A friend of mine that actually got hurt, killed in a car crash. I guess you call it the inspiration that wrote the scene here.
Mm-hmm. To me, for an argument that I started.
There's a lot of people on the shoot this day for one reason or another. We had This was shot on the real same day that we shot that train stuff. It just got so cold, we just drove up to the bar. And I called the owner, and I said, can we shoot in here instead to do some stuff? So anybody that was on that shoot at the train, when we relocated, it was only dialogue between her and him. But I think we had a big crew. It was like Chewy was there, and Courtney was there, and Dustin was there, and all these people were there. And, we didn't need them. We could have done, you guys have been involved. We could have shot this in our sleep. And I can't remember if she actually worked up tears or not, or if she took something out of her drink and put them in her own eyes or what have you. But I think when she keeps wiping, she keeps wiping. You see how her mascara is all smudged and runny? I love that shit. 'Cause she looks like she's totally breaking down and her life's all unraveling.
That's why every year...
And there's the truth. She never had a bad home life. She lied to him all this time. And she... was hiding a very terrible secret that she was responsible for her boyfriend's death.
Now, none of the other cast members ever find out about this, right? Because I don't ever remember her talking about it.
No, it was her and Jack's secret. They never really...
That's what I thought.
I think it was probably something that was just kept between her and
That's
Jack.
That's why I couldn't tell you guys. why I never told anyone.
Laura, you can't live your life like this.
I think it worked out pretty well. It's kind of a long scene, but there's a lot of things that had to be said there, you know, because you've been led for half of the series to believe that she was this poor, pathetic loser who had this horrible life, and the truth of the matter was she was a princess, and one incident happened that changed her life forever. You know, I think that's one thing that you wanted to say about the show is there's always one incident in your life that could change things.
Yep. And it makes it so true because I mean, this is actually something that could happen to somebody. That could
Yeah, it
change
did.
Their life.
It did actually.
It's different.
But I'm saying, like, overall, like, the whole soap opera, like, these are, like, realistic things that could happen.
Yeah.
It's why it makes it so believable.
And, you know, with the exception of some cheese and fluff, and a lot of times we throw in comedy or cheesy, poofy, whatever, and because we want to have cheese and a little bit of overacting in the show, but the one good thing I think about the show is we always concentrated on things that could really happen.
Make it believable.
Yeah. You know, it's unlike other soap operas where you have, you know, doctors and lawyers always running around stabbing each other in the back. We had some of that too, but it was...
A real soap opera, the house actually would have been magical.
Yeah. Well, in a real soap opera, there wouldn't have been a house. There would have been like cardboard walls, and you go out the front door, and all of a sudden you're getting donuts on the offset, you know, or going up an elevator somewhere. And if you look in the background on the right, there's Mikey Nemesek and his girlfriend that were in a scene. They were down there on the train shoot with us. And Chewie actually walked across there at one point.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Whose CD player is that?
Uh-oh, here we go.
Whose CD player is it?
Yeah, is that yours?
I think I borrowed it from a friend, actually.
It was Bree. I like that little shirt you have on.
Hey, thanks.
That sparkly thing. Now, here's funny. Ever notice how many times in the series Jared comes out of the house yawning? Mm-hmm. I can think of 3 off the top of my head. Or drinking. Mm-hmm. You know, that's because I wanted him to be a Bluto. He was based after a friend of mine who was like a party animal, and you guys have probably had him. His name was Jim Stewart. And he was a party animal, man. He would party till 6 in the morning. And I remember we all went to the beach one year, and he'd be like, man, I can see the sunrise from my bed, you know, and because he was just total party man. And that's Brett. That's how I wanted Brett to be.
He actually turned out to be real well. Good job of it.
Yeah, he did.
If I had to do a flip, I'd land on my butt.
A former strip.
I also remember this scene. We were fighting the clouds a lot. Like it was sunny, like bright sun. Like right there, it's not so bad. And then it comes on really heavy later, and we just couldn't reschedule. We don't have time.
I remember that.
You know? If we had a continuity director and we had more time to do this, because this was an epic. I mean, it wasn't a 2-hour movie or a 1-hour short. It was 15 hours.
Yeah, because there's actually a couple times in this scene where it gets real dark and...
Yeah. Well, look how cloudy it is there. Mm-hmm. And there was real windy this day, and there was a problem with the audio. If you remember, we hear a lot of this, you know.
Yeah, we needed 24 hours of daylight.
Jeez, that would have been great,
and
huh?
no wind.
Mm-hmm.
No wind.
We needed it.
And a crew to walk around getting us donuts whenever we wanted them.
No more donuts.
Did you know donuts stay in your system for 3 months after you eat it?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, they do.
Get out of here.
I'm serious.
It's bread.
It takes your body 3 months to digest a donut.
Does that mean employers could start having donut tests and keep people who eat donuts from working at their...
I don't know, because I mean, it really doesn't do anything to your system, but it takes it 3 months to digest.
Did you know when John Wayne died, they found 10 pounds of undigested red meat in his bowels?
That's disgusting.
That is gross.
10 pounds. He ate himself to death.
That's
Who
disgusting.
the hell's going to do that? That's retarded. He's John Wayne. What an
I
idiot.
don't believe it.
That's the rumor.
There was a little bit of everyone in their character, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm certain.
Lot.
At one time or another.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like Grant.
Yeah,
Grant was.
Yeah, he is
yeah.
Cleve. He's a stretch that. He is a filmmaker.
I think if you typecast one person, it was Grant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember you'd never directed at all.
No, I haven't.
You didn't even. Did you know what drum major meant?
Yeah, I
when we
knew
did
what
this?
it meant. I've never did it, but I knew the basic concept. I struggled with it a lot.
I still remember.
It's not easy to do that.
It's not at all. We fought about this flip, too.
Yeah,
And it comes
I'm still a
later
little
on.
disappointed by that.
I
I
was
really
too.
think you could have done it.
What?
I'm supposed to do a flip at the end of this scene. Well, I don't know how to do a flip. And Eric's
kind
like,
of a flip?
A backflip. What?
Yeah, that's why she's on the chair.
How is she supposed to do a backflip?
He's supposed to help her.
Well,
She's supposed to drop back into his arms, and then he would flip her legs up overhead, and she would land on her feet, and he would catch her.
Ooh.
And I'm thinking, okay, she has a very petite, tiny frame. I'm thinking Jared could do that. He's a big guy, he could handle it. But she didn't want to do it, and I said, well, I'm not want to push you to anything you don't want to do. So we tried to shoot it in a way where we kind of covered that up. But then I started thinking about it afterwards. I'm like, well, the only reason we wanted her to do the flip is because we wanted her to have, like she has in our real life, she didn't want to do it. I said we wanted her to do it in the actual drum major audition in the series finale. And she didn't do it then either. And we just abandoned the idea
That's
after a while.
impossible. I mean, you can't just like.
I've done a flip
Do
in
a
drum
back-
majoring.
Yeah, but I can't do a backflip.
No, I just can't stand there and do a flip, but you can from elevated height, which is she's on a chair.
Yeah, but I can't do a flip from an elevator.
but if you
Oh,
remember
really?
when I did my audition scene, I wouldn't have had anything to flip from.
Yeah, she wasn't standing.
I was standing.
Unless you went off the stage.
Okay, let me go off the stage and go get a chair in the middle.
Yeah,
of
I guess you're right in
put a chair
retrospect.
in there.
But see, the reason I had the idea is because I remember I had never done one either, and I did one only once when I was drum majoring. We did a performance in Pittsburgh Public Schools. It was Pittsburgh. They have an AstroTurf field, and I was on the same box that you drum majored off of, and I had to flip off the box backwards, land, turn around, and bow because that was the end of the show, and that's, it was hard. But I thought, well, maybe Jared could help her. You know how he could spot her, how he could spot you.
I love Jared. I don't necessarily trust him with my life, though. I mean,
True.
if you think about it, my life was in his hands.
I
mean,
guess.
if I fell back and he wouldn't flip or he dropped me or something.
Fell on your head, broke your neck.
Yeah,
I would have felt bad.
I would have been dead.
Oh, I said I would have felt bad.
I just didn't feel comfortable doing it.
No, that's
one of
okay.
the
I
one
don't blame
things
you.
I think that I fought about with you that I got away with that I didn't have to do.
Yeah. Well, we didn't.
can't
What
remember
else?
what song this was.
What did we fight about? You're okay with the dance in this episode later, the striptease thing.
I think
You
everybody
told me you
fought.
were. Now, if you're gonna sit there and debut that right now, this is new to me.
I said in the beginning I was, but then I was a little hesitant.
Because I remember, Brie, because I said, one of the reasons I cast you in that role is because you said, I like the character, I like how she's a stripper, I like how she did this, it's so much, she's a rich in characterization. I'm like, okay, well, you got to show it sometime.
I agree, but I'm just saying, then after I thought about it, I did it. It was challenging.
See, now this is what we came up with, and it's a little bit more enhanced, but she falls down, she flips up, the world flips around like that, and then she lands. So we kind of fudged it. I really still don't think it works to today.
I don't either.
But now that we shot it, I have no other way to get you down. And,
True.
We have no way to wrap up the scene without. We probably should have shot an alternate scene.
Yeah.
But we just didn't do it, and like I said, we were on a time schedule. So
It's fine.
I mean, it looks okay.
you have big, beautiful eyes, Brie.
Thank you.
Look how big your eyes are there.
I think we had good chemistry.
I think
do
you did
too.
pretty well. Yeah.
But I think everybody fought with you about something, Eric.
I
Everybody
agree.
wanted my head on a stake at one time. I remember everybody had the lynch mob. Oh, I do. I remember at one point in the series, you guys scheduled a meeting with me.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, I remember
I
this.
didn't have anything to do with it.
I remember everybody scheduled a meeting with me, and you were going to yell at me at CUTV because I went to the meeting. I don't know if you were there.
I don't.
Everybody decided to
I
schedule a
wasn't
meeting. Oh, no, you said, quote unquote, I know what we're going to yell at him about, so that's why I didn't go. That's what I was told. Dante told me.
Good.
Well, I knew you guys were going to hate me as soon as we started this, because that's the way it works. And I told you, if you remember, when we first got this done, in the end, I said, when we're all done with this and it's all done and on DVD and you have your own copy, the only thing you're going to remember are the good things.
times.
Yeah, but no, I was never mad at you, Eric.
Well, I think the lynch mob really, who wanted my head on a platter more than anybody, was like
They wanted my head on a
Dante,
platter too.
Dante and Because there was a room we didn't get it done in the time allotted. It's a one-man operation. It was too big for what we wanted to do, and we got it done. So
This is
everybody
Cold
had
Sore Central here.
What is that thing on your face?
I'm really bummed out because I got cold sores.
I love your hair, and I love your hair in this scene. That looks good. Curly.
What's wrong? I just wish things would go back to the way they used to be.
Now, I remember when we shot this scene, Jared was shooting a scene for his movie down below, downstairs for, I can't remember, I think it was The Easy Buck. He was doing a short. And they kept doing this song where Dante had to sing. He was in that too.
Yes.
And he was singing something. I kept saying, shut up! And they're yelling up, you shut up! It was funny.
And they sell Christmas decorations up
Mm-hmm.
on the banister.
Now, this was a shoot, I think I first met your niece or cousin.
Yeah, Autumn,
on.
I think was there.
You brought your
Oh,
cousin to
yeah,
this
she
shoot.
was.
Yeah.
And
My niece.
she is just a great person.
That was your niece?
And she's a nut.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was your cousin.
Which is kind of funny. It's how she's your niece, but she's like almost the same age as you.
22, I think.
22 at the time when
No,
this was
she's
done.
22 now.
Back then she was younger, like 19 or something.
Yeah.
Remember after the shoot, I had people over my house and you and her came over.
Yeah.
Remember? I
And
have it
Grant
all on
came
video.
over too,
Grant
right?
was there. I have it all on videotape. I watched it the other day. I thought, oh my gosh.
That's when Grant and I started hanging out.
I was like, who is that girl with Mary? That was funny. I'll have to dig that tape out and show you.
Oh, you taped
Oh,
that?
yeah. My camcorder was out the whole entire time.
Oh, I would like to see it.
Oh my, you didn't even know.
I totally forgot about it.
Private lessons. And this is where you first tell everybody that, Felosi's sexually harassing you. He's a sleazeball. Like in real life. Forgive
How
me,
was
Michael.
that working with Michael Slavin? Like when you messed up, like I never really worked. I didn't know.
He was real
It's a
understanding.
dream
Really?
to work with. Yeah, because he didn't memorize his lines before he got there.
Mm-hmm.
And if there were any scenes I memorized my lines for, it was over that. It was-
I remember the funny thing is about shooting that stuff with Michael Slavin. We only shot the entire series of stuff with him in like 2 nights. He would bring changes of clothes with him. He brought like 3 or 4 changes, and we'd shoot like one scene for episode 2, stop, he'd change, then shoot another
For
scene.
some of them,
Yeah, because you have some of my clothes on. Yeah.
we had to change like 8
I do remember that now.
Yeah.
That
But
was
I just like
interesting.
I working with your peers is different, when you.
I was nervous about
Yeah.
it. Definitely.
She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and a thumb and the shape of an L on her forehead.
That montage was a lot of fun to shoot.
Yeah, I have something we got to tell you about that montage.
All right, that's
when we
not
come
cold
to it.
sore shot.
I like the sparkle on your eyes.
Thanks. I don't. I hate it.
Okay, and this shot, okay?
That's why it was
I just let the tape roll. I don't even think you guys knew I was taping it there.
Yeah, some of it. I could tell that.
Because, let me tell you why. Grant picked up a book that was yours in that shot. And I kept it here and was reading. That's it right there. That's where you're like, give me that. Don't read that. Or no, Bree was reading. It was reading poetry or something you wrote. And you're like, give me that. Don't be reading my poetry. I thought that was awesome. You guys look like Christmas twins there. You got green on, you got red on.
Yeah.
Pink. More cold sores. Healing them.
Hey, look, it's your favorite thing, Mary. There's a party going on. Jared's dressed like the same way.
Yeah, I know. Standing on the same table, looking at Bree.
That's what they call stock footage. And look, what a studious, what a great student you are. The mega party going on downstairs, and you're upstairs studying. Like in real life. Look, you're still bitching about her reading your stuff.
And Grant's just laying on
He's
the
just
floor.
there. You know what? He found a book that was laying around the house. It didn't even belong to us. He started reading it.
This is stupid.
I remember when you shot this scene, you're like, Eric, I don't want to spit it back out.
It was disgusting. I only did that once.
Yeah, I remember that.
Don't lie, you did it a couple times.
Yeah, it was like Mary spits.
get this scene. This part. I thought,
They're making a bunch of noise.
They're making a bunch of noise.
I know, I got it afterwards. I'm not. Why? Because I thought the CD started to skip that you were listening to.
Is that what you do when you study?
Yeah, I did. I thought you were.
She shakes the chair. That'll fix it. I do like that outfit on you, that shirt. You wear some colorful stuff, Mary.
That outfit actually wasn't mine. I borrowed.
Oh, yeah? It's colorful. I like that. Tie-dye.
Mary, do you have any of your clothes? I was like, oh, that was somebody I borrowed.
A lot of it I got off this girl, Ann.
You know, it's funny
She was
when-
my wardrobe help.
When Grant came in that door and says, want some coffee? Remember he came through, he actually locked himself out of that door. And he couldn't get in. Dork. Oh, this is the scene we were talking about earlier. Bree, this is the scene that she first felt. What was he saying to you there? He's like talking. He had to have been talking about himself.
He was just being stupid sexual. I just can't. I don't even want to talk about it. I know you have to because it's commentary.
Yeah, I love when Mrs. Filbert catches him doing dumb things.
We were shooting this scene and Jim's car kept falling apart. Remember that?
He couldn't get it started.
He couldn't get it started. The thing on the door fell off. And
that was so great.
Oh, here's when we couldn't laugh. We were incapable of laughter.
Oh, I do remember this. This is shot. I put 5 episodes of A Neon together on that particular editor before we switched to digital technology. And this is at the CUTV studios.
Sweet girl. Yeah, right.
Yeah. You should have one that says have one on that says princess. 100% princess. This is the same editing facility that Bobby Thompson later on catches Cleve and Megan having sex on the news desk.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're jealous because you really want him, but that's your character. Huh?
I wasn't listening.
Oh, what are you talking? You just sometimes go,
I was
yeah.
making fun of myself.
I think that's the best that you could actually watch this and like make fun of yourself. You're like, that was so stupid.
You're like, huh? Look at us, we're trying to laugh.
It's such fake laughter.
And it was like, it's okay. My character was fake laughing.
Yeah, she was.
The one I've been talking about so much.
Oh, that's great. So then we'll have something to look back on.
Yeah.
So, Senator, was that you all drunked up with the college co-ed?
Cleve, thanks for helping me out.
Yeah, Cleve.
What are you thanking him for?
For helping me with the Dr. Pelosi thing.
Oh, okay.
Studying and that kind of
And
thing.
forgiving me and being nice to me after I
said
used
that,
him a rape.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty much. That is, you know what?
What happened?
Put it bluntly, that's exactly what you did. You know, it didn't come out. You know, it all escalated from that story you had with Mark, and Mark was like, "You always need a boyfriend," and you're like, "No, I don't." And you only said it just because, you know.
I want my eyebrows to look like that again. I did such a good job plucking them during this.
What a thing to say.
So what do they look like now? They look like chewy
They don't look
sideburns or
great
what?
now.
Huh?
No. I think they're just a little thicker.
You know what's funny about Grant? He was the same way as you. He's like, I'd say, okay, don't forget to wear that shirt. And he says, dude, I don't know where that shirt's at. Or I lost that. Or, you know, he eventually lost the Mountain Dew cap, I think, in the end. That's why he had to wear it backwards so I could tell it didn't say Mountain Dew. You know?
I don't think Grant knew anything. You know, I mean, it was like...
Grant's one person we could say anything we want about because he will not watch this.
That's true.
Ever.
Guarantee. You know what? I don't think he's ever watched one episode.
I don't
How
think
could
so
you
either.
not want to watch?
Well, you know, it's funny. I asked Bill Bennett about that. Some actors, and Grant's not really an actor. He's more of a behind-the-scenes guy. Bill Bennett will never watch anything he does on tape.
Really?
Never.
He's
never watched.
seen a Neon.
Never saw
You
a
know
Neon.
what?
Never saw the Easy Buck.
Dr. Slave, and I don't think I'll watch it either.
I wouldn't surprise me.
It's because
some people don't like to do it. They're theater actors. They don't like to watch them. There is a difference between theater actors and screen actors.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
And they don't like to watch themselves because they look like they're overacting. And which, really, Slavin, Dr. Michael Slavin playing Filosi, he was overacting a little bit. It's a little snidely whiplash, cheesy, evil, True. He doesn't want to do that.
He was supposed to be, though, I think.
Well, not quite to the extreme that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were damn good at it.
Yeah, they were damn good at it. I mean, you don't want to ruin that.
All she ever does is sit around and feel sorry for herself and think, God, I'm an idiot. I always do something stupid.
And guess what's happening now?
Can we fast forward this?
No, we're going to break this down segment by segment with slow-mo and different angles. I remember... Here, I'll be gentle. We'll ease ourselves into this scene. This is Bree's controversial scene where she is having she's having a real bad day. No, she had music when we did this.
Did you?
She's having a real bad day practicing, and when she sits down, she's all defeated, and she starts thinking about what Brett told her. Says, you need to be more loose up there. You got to think about your roots. When you did that stripper stuff. And just happens that the right song comes on that, in reality, Bree chose and choreographed this whole thing for. And she pretty much danced it. We shot it from about 20 different angles, the entire song. I mean,
There's a couple times where I almost fell off the chair, lost my balance.
Yeah, because she's shooting it with her eyes closed.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
And it's and
now all my friends that have seen this, we go out and this song comes on.
Oh God!
And they say, "Hey, Bree, do your thing."
Yeah. Needless to say,
I love rock and roll.
You know what? I did it once.
Are you serious? I wish I would have been at that bar.
With the tape.
You heard about it.
Ooh, is that the one?
Yes.
Oh, good for you. I wish well, I won't get into that, but I got it. I'm dying to ask questions after we're done with this commentary.
Yeah, I did it once. Now
you choreographed this whole thing. You did a really good job at it. Now, you know what the funny thing is? I remember after we got done with this, that very night, you said, I want to look at some of the stock footage.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a different night. And we went back.
It was a different night.
Different night.
Mm-hmm.
We went back to the studio, and you wanted to look at it. And when you looked at it, I remember you were so upset. You were like almost in tears, saying, "This sucks."
I thought it did.
And I said, "Bree, you got to trust me. It's not good." You're like, "But it looks," because you were looking at it from one angle, the entire shot, or that shot or overhead shot. You didn't see them edited together. And I was like, "You got to trust me. All right, I'll put it together."
A funny story about this was my aunt and I were in Walmart.
Oh, I remember this.
This aired.
Somebody come up to you.
And these 3 guys approached me. My aunt had no clue that I did this scene because I didn't tell her. And these 3 guys come up to me and they're like, "You're that stripper chick."
On a
My
neon.
aunt's like, "What?" They're like, "Dude, you're the girl that dances on the chair in a neon." Now my aunt has no clue.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. And I'm like, "That wasn't me." And my aunt's like, "You're in neon." I'm like, "Yeah, that was somebody else." And they're like, I won't tell you exactly what they said because.
Oh, go ahead. There's swearing in this commentary. Can I say it?
Well, the one guy looks at me and he looks at me up and down and he goes, "You're hot." And the other kid looked at me and he goes, "I'd fuck you." Right in front of my aunt. And I'm like, oh my God.
Isn't it amazing how TV carries over into the real world? They all think that she's easy because of this scene.
And it's just like, I just stood there and my aunt and I left Walmart. And honestly, we're standing in the parking lot having this huge fight. And my aunt's like, "I can't believe you're a stripper. You never told me." And it sounded like a real life conversation, like a mother yelling at her daughter for not telling her that she was a stripper. And this older gentleman walks by my aunt and goes, "What kind of mother are you?" I mean,
you didn't tell me that.
It was just like, it was just like this whole ordeal, and oh my goodness.
You're not even a stripper.
It just cracked me up. I mean, like, I would be out in Belle Vernon at Red Dogs, and this one girl just went crazy. Jennifer Burns! Oh my God! I mean, made this whole big scene on a Saturday night at Red Dogs because she watches me on TV. I mean, it was just...
It's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah, and then we sit here and we wonder in Hollywood how people get real stalkers in real life.
Seriously.
And people that can't differentiate between a character and real life. Like that guy that says, yeah, I do you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, stupid. It's a TV show.
I mean, it was just like, I just hung my head and just tried to, oh man.
You did a pretty good job with that, I thought. I mean, after you did it, what was it, 20 different angles, so it was a 3-minute song. So do the math. How long were you dancing? And that was all in one night.
Oh, my God.
And it was just her and I.
That's all I wanted it. Just
I remember you said you didn't want anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think if you would have had your druthers, I probably would have been there if you could just do it with the camera.
Yeah, I would have much rather preferred that, but that
I don't blame you.
Impossible. Here, let me dance and hold the camera myself.
I think you did pretty good. And I think you do pretty good in this scene, too. This is supposed to be, throughout the entire series, we always talked about the look. Jared always...
It's really hard for me to do.
No, you've done it before. I've seen you do it to people.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, if you don't... the look is something that you give without thinking. You know what I mean? And when you're told, do the look...
No, I give it intentionally.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, I can't. And, like, you would...
What? You do not.
Absolutely.
You know what the look is, right?
She's giving it to you right now.
It's not the look.
It's the look.
It's not the look. I wish you could see that at home.
You walk away, you look away.
And you look back to see if they're looking.
And then you giggle to yourself after you look
You slut.
But I mean, you can do it. It's a reaction, you do it. But when somebody tells you to do it, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the best love stories, though, are the ones that are told with no words and you can just see it in your eyes. And
I agree.
Know the story.
You ever see that movie Amelie?
No.
You should see it. It's really good.
Who's in it?
Audrey Tautou.
Huh.
It's a French movie.
No, didn't see it. You're into foreign films. Didn't know that, Mary.
No, I like that movie.
No, I'm not into foreign. Just that movie. I don't watch any other.
And by the way, I think you look great here, Brie. Again, look at those big eyes you got going, But I like it because I like that the best stories I always thought are like when two people look at each other and they can talk to each other and without words and you know what they're saying. That's the greatest. And because I've done that. I think other people have done that. They can relate to that. And
you just have that one person that you click with that you can do that with,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's whenever you start to, it'll happen here soon enough, but you get down the stairs and you do the look back, and I think that works out pretty nice.
It's really hard to do.
And hold. You had to hold that
without
too.
laughing.
Yeah.
At Jared.
You really look like you like each other more than anyone, I think, in this.
Yeah, and you had to do it too because Jared is the prankster. He's like nothing serious. I seriously think whoever he falls in love and marries in real life is going to have clown makeup in her purse or something. He's like the jokester.
He's such a great guy, though. He really is.
Mm-hmm. I remember him telling me once that he did the soap opera because he wanted to do some acting, but if it had been between the soap opera and an action-adventure movie, he'd choose the action-adventure movie. I said, yeah, but then you're not acting. You're doing stunts and stunt doubles doing it for you. He says, I know, but I don't like that mushy-schmushy stuff. I said, well, that's you, Jared. I said,
you did a great job.
Mm-hmm. But you did it so well on here.
Mm-hmm. And I think it helped too that Jared and I knew each other before.
Yeah, you were friends beforehand.
We were friends before this. We worked together. We had class together, and
you worked on other short films together.
Definitely helps to know people.
Exactly. I would think that you and Grant would have had a hard time in the beginning, but then you guys kind of warmed up to each other pretty fast. But it would have to be hard to pretend to be in love with somebody.
We didn't really have too many scenes, though. Like, most of the scenes is where he really didn't like me. So
well, in the beginning. In the beginning, though, the first night you guys.
The very first night,
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I don't think I could do that.
Well, we got together before the scene and tried to hang out and practice our lines just so we wouldn't feel completely weird. Didn't help too much.
Hear this line? Right?
Jen, Tom's here.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
Well, no, you don't. We forgot to shoot you saying that.
Yeah, I said it another time, too.
Yeah, I took it from another show. I took it from like episode 6, I think, when he comes to the door. Yeah, and I used that dialogue there because we forgot to shoot it. And this is the look. I don't know, you hit that light too, just right, Brie. That looks good.
My face looked really fat.
What? Get out of here.
You're right, that's not very flattering.
It looked like it when
She looked pretty though.
I like the little soliloquy I put in there for Brett. It's important for several reasons, because when he was describing the look in this dialogue, it was to you in the third episode, top of the third episode. And then you walk away. Look on the chair there. You see like the script and the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just laying around, because we forgot it. That happens. It's bargain basement. It's fun stuff. Now, these shots were done by what you call a second unit director, Ryan Kuntz, a friend of mine. They called him Woodchuck. Do you remember Woodchuck, Brie? Were you here for that?
I remember.
You remember Woodchuck, too? He moved to New York City with a bunch of guys from CUTV, the station that we all were affiliated with at some time, and wanted to see about hitting it big. And they've worked on some different productions, the Spider-Man and Mary Tyler Moore reunion and what have you. And since he was up there in New York, I said, could you videotape some of this stuff to set the establishment that she's supposed to be in New York? He says, sure. So he went out and he did a bunch of different stuff. And the scary thing about that was, and this is a true story, I'm not making this up, this was the fall of 2001 in New York. They shot, if you notice, there's nothing at the World Trade Center, because they went out and shot this stuff the week following the World Trade Center. He called me once and said, the scary thing is, I said, what? He says, the weekend before it fell, we had plans to go to the top of the World Trade Center to shoot the city. That close to that disaster. And he says, in fact, we were thought about going during the week because his buddy Moon had the week off from work, and they almost went up there. Now that's a little creepy to talk about, but that's a true story.
I almost feel like you were responsible.
Oh yeah, I would have felt, it would have been horrible.
But she was actually there in New York when they shot a lot of this stuff, because this school took a trip to the World Trade Center
to see the devastation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, here's a flashback. This is in the State Theater in Uniontown, PA. It looks like a small New York theater because there's so much cultural history behind it. Theaters back then, in the turn of the century, were fabulous. They all look like New York, And Conrad does a pretty good job of playing Clayton Booth.
Yeah, he does.
Who would have thought Conrad could act?
He was actually auditioned for for Mark at one time, because he had some laser brain surgery when he was a kid, and that's why his eye is a little off. He had I think it was a tumor removed or something, and he felt that he could do Mark because Mark is blind. He said it'd be an interesting challenge. This is in a hotel room in Bentleyville, PA, that we went.
What song is this?
Okay. Long jacket, short skirt.
I know.
I like that song. And this is supposed to be a progression of her success. And she's looking at the video, and ironically, it's the same video footage from the very first episode, the very first moment you saw the cast. You're introduced to the cast, all but Bree. Sorry, Jen.
That's okay.
He says, what do you have to say about this documentary of your lives? And, she's starting to think about, was it really worth going up there to become famous? Because you threw your friends away at the time. And, of course, this montage is her going through all her success.
Well, this was added too, right? I mean...
No, this is untouched. It aired this way.
No, you added this to the script.
Yes. Yes, you're right there. Yeah, you're right there. Yeah, Kim was only supposed to be in the first episode and the last episode. And I think that Amber felt like she was missing the boat when we started and everybody was having, I don't want to say a fun time because it was work, but she saw how good it was. I don't want to, talk like I'm the greatest. I'm saying it, but it turned out better than everybody thought it would be. I think she felt like she was missing the boat, so we kind of wrote some stuff in there for her in New York, thinking about her friends, that wouldn't ultimately ruin the end the way it was shot.
It's a nice addition.
It's not too bad. It works out pretty well. I think if everybody had... In fact, you know who wrote all that stuff for the whole Cleve, Bobby Thompson and Megan storyline? Was LeVar Cunningham. Do you remember LeVar? LeVar Cunningham was a writer on the show, and he wrote some of that stuff. That was never in the original script either. He wrote some of that stuff in there.
By the way, you do know who got her start at her...
And this is a setup, a prelude, because Amber said, did you ever notice on soap operas, they always have that dreamy sequence where there's like candles, and they shoot it with like a fuzzy lens where it has like a real dreamy sequence. She says, can we do something like that? I said, yeah, if you want to. So she wrote this whole thing with the Phantom of the Opera that she dreams herself, choosing. And the dream's representative of her choosing the life overseas forever or staying in the country. And she went out and she found all the Phantom of the Opera props, the cape, the fog. She put a lot into that.
It was nice. It looked good when you brought it together.
Yeah, not too shabby. And I remember too, this was shot on the same stage that we shot the play in the first episode. And while you might say, isn't that kind of cheesy because it's Phantom of the Opera, it's a dream. So she's actually dreaming of, you've dreamed weird things, the Phantom of the Opera on the stage that she's used to in her college life. So she kind of gets up and gets familiar with her surroundings, and you have all those candles and the fog machine. We shot this about all night one night, from about till dawn. And the guy that plays the band director, your band director, Jen, X, was on the fog machine. I needed somebody to help me out, and he volunteered, so I got to give him props to that. And we had to go through this whole ordinance about having candles on in the building, lit. The building supervisor said, no way. And I said, well, come on. And he said, well, as long as it's going to be supervised. And I said, okay. So we had to go through a special permission to use candles. I remember Amber was big on this dress, too. It came from somebody famous. I don't know. But it is a really nice dress. It's kind of dreamy, all of a sudden he's behind her, he's in front of her, you don't know who it is. And I remember everybody saying to me at the time, who is that guy? And the funny thing is, you know who it is. I know who it is. But at the time, if you're just an observer, it doesn't look like Ted Froats.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, I was shocked.
And that is Ted. This was the final scene that Ted shot for the soap opera.
Because he had to shave off his beard.
Yeah, he was leaving the very next day for Disney World. He was taking a job in Florida, and this was the final scene he shot for the soap opera. And when she finally unmasks him and he has the goatee, we shot that prior to this, because after we shot that scene, he went in the bathroom with a razor, shaved his goatee off, and dun-da-da-da, he went from Clark Kent to Superman. He came back out, and here you are. He's the Phantom. And
So wait, so at the end of this scene, he has his goatee.
He has his goatee, yeah.
Well, what was the point of him not having it now?
Because you wouldn't I don't think when you unmask him, it's a dream. It's not supposed to necessarily make sense. You're supposed to just get the feeling of it.
So that whole
So when if you notice, we did like a.
It would have been nice to have him still have it off and see him without his goatee.
Yeah.
Well, I think we did in the beginning, the very beginning of the series. His goatee came and went so many times. Yeah. But I don't think, I got the idea, actually, Bree, you might, I don't know, you're a Batman fan, you say you are. In the movie Batman Returns, there's a scene in the end where Batman pulls his mask off to Catwoman. Mm-hmm. And if you look just an instant before he pulls it off, they always darken Michael Keaton's eyes with black shoe polish or whatever, so you can't see in there, it's all skin. But when he pulled it off, you could see there was skin this time. And when he pulls it off, there's no black shoe polish, it's Michael Keaton.
I never noticed.
Oh, look close. And so I thought to myself when we did this...
So that was on purpose?
What?
The goatee?
Yes, it was on purpose because you wouldn't have recognized Jack without it. So in this close-up here, she goes for it, and when she grabs it... I don't know.
He takes off
maybe.
Thing.
But when you pull it off, bam, we cut to the scene shot prior where he has it on. And she realizes she wants to do the whole Phantom thing, but now she realizes, at least on a subconscious level, that she's in love with Jack.
Yeah, see, I thought you shot this 2 different days.
No, we shot one right after the other. We just had him shave. And, I kind of adjust the camera here because it's a realization that she's in love with Jack. That she's not in love with the idea of going overseas, but it's been Jack all along. No offense, Cindy. That bitch, she was my best friend.
I'm over him. Took me a little while, but...
And by the way, I think that tuxedo he has on actually belongs to Matt Conrad. In real life. And the knight back there in the background, that was why we was dead on another series called Fright Night Friday.
Faye Dwight.
Faye Dwight. She wakes up. And those 8x10s and stuff there, Wallace size, she had a photograph taken when she was younger, when she was in high school. And like senior portraits or something. She just photocopied a bunch of them to make them look like stills, and there she is.
Wow, 8,000 pictures of Amber.
Imagine that.
I bet she's in heaven.
I'm in love with myself.
That's who it is, Jack.
Oh wait, I'm in love with myself. No, me.
Hey, you know why you got that bandana on?
I do, because my hair is kind of reddish,
pink,
purplish.
No, look at that. It's bright as the bandana. Look at that.
I do have a mole there though.
Maybe it was dirt.
It's a shot of computer labs down in California. Your hair was a different color. About to turn the corner.
That nose is gone.
Oh my gosh. And it's Megan Withers. Her hair's different too. That's what startles you.
Yeah, we both have different hair. Mm-hmm. Her hair is really dyed blonde.
It's really blonde there. And I remember this was her boyfriend at the time in real life. Now she thinks he's scum. Bastard. And you know that this is the girl that's... I told her there, I said, give her a look, Jill, like, come join us. And that's pretty much what she did. Megan's no good, man. She's up to no good. Look at that. She's like, ha ha ha. Fuck you. Now, the funny thing is, you know that she's dating Cleve, and you just bumped into something you should have seen. Mm-hmm. Speak of the devil, look who's coming out of the back door yawning.
Imagine that.
I like Brett. You never see him in class in the entire series. It's because he wakes up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You never see him in class.
That's right. He's the only one I think you've never seen in class. That's all he does. He sits around and does drugs. This is kind of a sight gag back to episode 4 with Dante driving the mailbox and still smashed into pieces. Not pizzas. And the mailman, he doesn't care. He just still puts the mail in the wrong box, in the smashed up box anyway. If you look closely, you can tell there's no letter in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, I remember when we wrote this.
Tom. He has no last name.
Tom. I think we decided it was going to be Anderson. And why I picked Fawnell, PA, I have no idea because I don't know. I didn't even know there was a town named Fawnell.
Is that?
I don't know. I don't even remember why I picked that. Mm-hmm. But I remember putting the little hearts all over it. I thought that was a nice touch.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah, Tom doesn't have the last name.
Didn't we say it was Anderson at one point?
I don't remember.
If you look closely, that's the
Just
only
Tom.
time in the entire series you see what college this takes place in.
Yep.
Where?
Northeastern University.
Northeastern University.
Is that a real university?
I have no idea. I wanted it to be generic. I didn't want it to be a specific college.
Of course, there were pictures of California University of Pennsylvania all over the place.
Cal 150.
Cal. Must be Northeastern California.
Northeastern California. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know if they have a fall quite like ours.
True.
It snows. It snows in California.
Yeah, but do they have a fall?
That
like
I don't know.
With the leaves falling and orange.
I imagine they would,
talk
obviously.
about the fall when they come out here and as though it's unique. People talk about
I imagine they would, right? I mean, it doesn't snow around the clock, so I mean, it has to snow sometime, meaning it has to be fall.
Not necessarily. Not if they don't have those types of trees. They can have a lot of evergreens like they do in Washington or.
You have to ask Dustin. He's a winter.
Like Hawaii doesn't have a fall.
But it doesn't snow there. I would think since it snows in California, they'd have a fall.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Sure.
They have a lot of maples and
Maybe.
things like that.
All right.
Of course,
No, I was.
Brett's getting sucked back into the drug world again here.
What'd you do?
Almost gets busted by Jack, who we
Jen
haven't
is
seen.
not going to be happy.
Who we haven't seen since he rescued Laura from the train tracks and left Booth on hold on the other side.
Sorry, Booth called from the Gap.
What'd he say?
I had another call.
He said he had another call?
No, I had another call.
That's it?
Sorry.
That's the end of that. Thanks, Jerry.
Back. Please spread the word. I'm waiting for his phone call. It's important.
You got it.
You got it.
You got it, baby. And of course, called Doomer, and we're gonna have a Coke party.
Need you to do one last job.
Yeah.
Listen, I
You still got that red jacket and that skull cap? Yeah. Bring it with you. More footage from
Now we're in New York.
Woodchuck Show in New York. There's a lot of footage I didn't even get a chance to use because we ran out of time. There's a lot of footage. You know, Jeff Halsell.
Now, is that her in New York?
No, that's in Uniontown. It looks like
I thought it was New York.
I know, that's why I shot it there.
I thought that was the
Uniontown doubles for New York.
That's the little. There's a little park. It kind of reminds you like a park in New York, doesn't it?
I thought she went to New York on that 9/11 trip so she could shoot stuff in New York.
She did. This on the building right there on the left is the theater in Uniontown, State Theater.
Notice that this was done after September 11, hence her American flag shirt.
Yes, hence.
Where's this at?
That is in a bar in Uniontown. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it looks like a New York bar, so we shot it there. That is in Uniontown. That's all in Uniontown. Now, we had planned for her to go to New York on that trip with Jeff Halsell to shoot some scenes of New York. But the scene, it just didn't work out. Like, how can I explain it? Like, some of it I'm going to use, we've used, you know. But other shots is like...
It's not as good as you.
It's not like her, it's like her along the river.
Where's this?
Way in that's the State Theater in Uniontown. That's the lobby.
Oh.
Like I said, it looks a lot like New York, doesn't it?
The whole time I thought all of that was shot in New York, the outside.
That's what you're supposed to be led to believe. So good, it worked out.
I
That's
really
actually
did.
a compliment. Because Conrad didn't go to New York.
Yeah. Well, I knew this was in the State Theater.
Right.
I knew that, but I thought all the outside stuff.
Yeah. Some of the stuff we did shoot, we just haven't. Some of it was unusable for one reason or another. Just because it just didn't have the feel I needed.
You have everything looking a certain way. You can't have something that was completely different.
Yeah, that's it exactly. You hit it right on the head. And the outside of the theater looked like a New York, like a small off-Broadway area. You know, I mean, look at that foyer. I mean, that's incredible. That's just turn-of-the-century architecture. You can't.
Yeah, I love the school bus.
Well, yeah. Other than the school bus driving by, but it's busy. There's cars driving by.
Well, I'm sure there's school
No,
buses
I like
in
the
New
school
York.
bus. I think it's
You don't. I was gonna say, you don't think there's any school in New York? Or?
No, I do.
And it's funny because this coming next time attraction says somebody's going to die. And it turns out in the next episode, we ran out of time and no one can die until the following episode. So this is like a mistake.
What?
Somebody's going to die.
Someone really is going to die next
Yeah.
time.
Who will survive? And it's like...
Who will die?
Everybody, because...
I just love this.
You remember shooting that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun shooting that. It was like, we had to go, okay, go to this location, stop.
Too bad that wasn't the movie poster.
Yeah, that would have been cute.
Well, how can you do that?
Just take a picture of it.
I mean, you mean just the group?
Yeah.
That's not a bad poster. I like that. Now, I wish you'd have told me about that. I would have made that into the finale poster.
I didn't even think about it.
I didn't think about it either.
I didn't know you were making a finale poster. Well, goodbye, everyone.
Yes, it's been fun.
Well, we're ending it even though Erik is still talking.
They're ending it early, I guess. Mary wants to go out and booze it up. Right, Mary?
Yeah.
Before we go, I want to say one thing. To do this commentary today, we all came at my new studios, my house, and we're doing this here and watching this on my screen, and the big screen. And Mary said, "Listen, I'm going to go to the State Store and get a couple of drinks." I'm like, okay, come back and have a couple of drinks to watch. And then she disappeared for like an hour. And we called her like,
Washington's a big city.
I know, we're like, Mary, we're like, are you actually drinking at the bar? No, I'm at the Walmart. Walmart? What for now? She's like, I'm picking up some ice. You can't have drinks without ice. So we have to give her props for bringing back all the alcohol to get us sloppy drunk.
Oh, yes.
Right? Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Who's Xavier Maxwell?
That's X's real name.
X.
That's
Doggy.
That's what he changed his name to? Xavier
It was
Maxwell?
Xavier Maxwell. That was another DJ thing that he used. Just because he has like 100 aliases.
Okay.
And the footage, we had to thank because we had the overhead shots. There's everybody in here gets thanked, even the Mr. and Mrs. Sprowls Cooking Company.
Yes, which provided very, 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 very good.
Yummy.
But there you go. That was episode 8, as long as it was. And we're going to sign off now because we got to get out of here. We've got other plans for tonight.
Yep.
Isn't that right, Mary?
That's right.
That's right. So, for Mary Muhly, and I feel like I'm signing off with the news.
I know.
For Mary Muhly, Brianne Dalphonso, this is Erik Sprowls. Later.